I can start directly.
Yes, Vinod, go ahead.
So, welcome to all the participants. We will be starting this webinar in a while. Okay. So, the topic for the day is GST audit by department, a practical approach. And at the end of session, we can also discuss few of the legal points related to search, inspection, and seizure by the GST department. So, thank you, Vikas sir, for having me here. So, I'm starting the deliberation. For next 30 minutes, I will be deliberating on it, and if there are questions of participants, so we can take them up at the end of session. So we will be using English and Hindi both mix. If you all are comfortable, otherwise we can continue in English also if there is no issue to the participants. So GST audit by department, a practical approach. So GST was introduced in 2017 and as on date, almost 4 to 5 financial years have already passed. And practically, we are handling GST audit by the department. We are working for our clients. So department is practically opening GST audit for 4 financial years as of now, 2017-18 to 2020-21. 21-22, they are not opening because annual return is pending. The due date for annual return and 9 and 9C is 31st of December 2022. So practically, friends, department is opening GST audit for 17-18 to 2021. So before going to the taking a deep dive into GST audit, I will be telling you the procedure followed by the GST department before GST audit is conducted, and I will be telling you how GST audit is selected by the GST department. So earlier, before this financial year, 21-22, and you can say 2021 also, we were also given the responsibility to certify the reconciliation statement in 9C. Now it has been withdrawn. You all know the reasons for why it has been withdrawn. So post withdrawn of 9C by the Chartered Accountants, department is actively selecting cases for GST audit. So GST audit is basically a detailed, you can say, one of the detailed investigation by the GST department. And the most active department in this whole process is the central GST. That is, we are the cadre of CBIC. The state GST department is not taking up too many cases because they are overburdened with the restful regimes like VAT and CST cases. So we are handling cases which are opened by the CGST department in Haryana, like in Delhi, in Mumbai, etc. So section 65 practically empowers them to start the GST audit of our clients. 65 says that the commissioner is authorized and commissioner can delegate the power of GST audit to its officers. So practically, the commissioner has delegated its power to various deputy commissioners and the assistant commissioners. So assistant commissioner and the deputy commissioners are basically practically executing GST audit on the ground. I will show you the notice also, the audit reports also. So GST department is sending notices in form GST ADT 01, which is a form. You can say this is a notice which basically informs client that their case has been selected for GST audit. So GST audit, how it is selected? It is selected by the risk parameters which are decided by the DGARM. Who is DGARM? DGARM is the Directorate General of Risk and Analytics and Management, which is the wing of CBIC. This wing is basically working actively, aggressively in analysis of data which we have filed on the GSTN portal. 30 to 40 people, as practically we have been briefed up. 30-40 people around. There's a team of 30-40 people which involve people from the Tech Mahindra, Infosys, and few of the officers on the you can say they are taken from the states also. They are basically analyzing the data of our clients and selecting cases for GST audit. So few of the risk flags which we came across were the, like, my client has taken input tax credit, which is they have taken from the fake suppliers. The suppliers, they came into the system and they are gone away. They are not now part of the process. I mean, they took the registration, issued bogus invoices of huge amount, and they went away. My client has taken input tax credit from those fake oblique bogus suppliers. You can say the fake oblique so-called fake and bogus suppliers. If there is input tax credit in my books of accounts in my GSTR 3B, so my case is selected for GST audit. The second important point is the GST refund. Few of our clients took GST refunds. So department is basically having apprehensions that GST refund is taken on the wrong legal principles. They are saying that GST refund was not admissible, but you have taken GST refund, so we will recover this refund along with interest. Second point. Third point, violations of various rules of CGST rules, like the recent notice I came across, the violation of rule 96 sub rule 10. Like you have purchased on 0.1% and you are exporting goods with payment of IGST. So this is clear-cut violation of rule 96 sub rule 10. A refund has to be taken back. It has to be paid along with interest and penalty. Fourth point, few of the smart exporters, what they were doing in the initial years of GST implementation, they were basically exporting goods with payment of IGST by taking fake oblique bogus credit. You all know export can be done on two. Basically, there are two methods of exporting goods and services. The first method is export of goods with payment of IGST and export of goods without payment of IGST, that is on LUT. So if you are exporting goods with payment of IGST, the return GSTR 3B becomes the refund application and you get refund by a process, by a technological process without human intervention through customs department. In the initial years, few of the illicit people, they caused a huge damage to the GST department, to the exchequer by taking fake refund of input tax credit. Now their cases are nowadays selected for GST audit. So we don't know, but there is a list that there are 36 parameters on the basis of which GST audit is practically selected for by the DGARM, and now this audit is executed by the Audit Commissionerate of CBIC. So now what is the agenda of our seminar or our webinar is to understand, or basically you can say the objective is to proactively look into the books of accounts of our clients so that we can make the rectifications, we can take the corrective actions so that in case our case is selected for GST audit under section 65, our client is safeguarded by the burden of penalty and interest, which is imposed by the GST jurisdictions, like on the recommendations of the Audit Commissionerate by the jurisdictional officers. So we came across, we have gone through various GST audits. It takes months on months to get it done, and department take deep dive into our books of accounts. They take deep dive into the P&L balance sheet. They go to the 3B, R1, 9C, input tax credit invoices, refund applications, refund orders, our agreements. A lot of things are being scrutinized by the GST officers, and practically two people are executing this exercise, and the first officer is the superintendent and the second one is the inspector. So these two people are reporting to the deputy commissioners of the audit circle and to the assistant commissioner in few of the audit commissionerates. So now I will be deliberating on few of the critical and practical aspects wherein we are required to focus upon. So Before that, I'm just telling you, my PPT is not moving because no, it is moving. Yes.
You can see the PPT.
Yeah. I'm just giving you the practical glance of a GST ADT one which was issued in one of our case. And I will be telling you how to get it, how to start the overall process, how it is initiated. Okay, so before that, I'm just telling you the one of the process in GST like regime. So GST regime is basically having the first process is the written scrutiny by the GST department. On the basis of written scrutiny, they sometimes issue ASMT 10 to the SSEs, to the taxpayers. Now they are saying in ASMT 10 that there is a difference between the GSTR 3B table 4 ITC claimed and the GSTR 2A. And on the basis of which there is a demand of so and so amount, you have to pay this demand along with interest and reply to this notice. If the ASMT 10 is working, no need to audit, the task is done. If ASMT 10 is not working, then they come to this process audit under 65. And the audit under 65 is started with the first notice in form GST ADT 01, read with rule 101 sub rule 2 of the CGST rules 2017. The first and the most important task, we must verify the DIN on the document issued. Most important. The DIN on this particular notice is given on the top, DIN 20221052Z, etc. etc. So this DIN first responsibility as a consultant is to verify this DIN on the CBIC website, www.cbic.gov.in. This DIN will be verified. This DIN has already been verified by us and it is authenticated, but there is a practical flow to it. And we are planning to file RTI also on this. What few of the commissionerates are doing, not in audit, but in anti-evasion, particularly in few of the divisions. Suppose the DGARM has issued a list of one client to the anti-evasion department of CBIC. So what they are doing is they are sending notice to that particular SSE by mentioning that particular DIN. Along with that, they are issuing 10 other notices by same DIN to 9 or 10 other SSEs also. DIN, once you verify it, it will be verified. But DIN is a document identification number. It is specific to a document. It is not a generic document which has to be issued for 10 cases. It has to be issued for a single case. And this malpractice is being followed in various cases. So what they do, that one case is pursued, they are pursuing it. And on the balance cases, what they are doing is we cannot say on public platform what they are doing is. And this ultimately results in the bad practices and the SSE is suffering. So the DIN is verified. Once DIN is verified, you have to check the date also. Like what is the date? Whether so nowadays, because the due date of annual return was extended many times, so the date is not a problem nowadays. But in times to come, we have to check the date also, whether this ADT1 is time barred or not. We have to check that aspect also. So this particular notice covers, you can say, the period 17-18 to financial year 2021. So one practical advice, few of the officers, what they are doing is, it is specifically mentioned on the notice that they are doing audit of 17-18 to 2021. But sometimes they they cross the barriers and come to 21, 22 also. And few of the cases, they come to 22, 23 also. Once they cross their barriers, Lakshman Rekha, we have to alarm them, we have to warn them that the case is selected for a specific period. They cannot go beyond the period prescribed in the GST ADT 01. That is the second practical advice. So that aspect is taken care of. Now, it says that notice for conducting GST audit, that there is a letter dated so and so which was remain unattended, and now you are required to give the following documents. This is the list of documents they are asking. In most of the cases, like they are asking few of the annexures, they are calling it desk review, DR, the copy of certificates, 9C, etc. They are asking so many annexures. Like the most important and the critical part of the whole process is the input tax credit. Input tax credit either taken by making violations of section 16 subsection 2. Input tax credit is taken on the bogus suppliers invoices. Input tax credit is taken, but payment is not made within 180 days to the suppliers. That is a clear-cut violation of Rule 37. Input tax credit is taken on some personal items. Input tax credit is taken on gift-free samples. So these are some practical aspects which they are looking into the GST audit. If your client has taken GST refund, they are making a deep dive into the GST refund orders. They are cross-checking the principles, they are cross-checking the notifications, they are cross-checking the FIRC, BRC, etc., which has already been verified by the GST officers. So practically, we are doing voluntary audit of few of the clients also. The moment the flow of GST audit has started. So what we are doing in our voluntary audit is we are taking care of these aspects in advance. We are taking proactive steps. We are verifying, reconciling their GSTR 3B with GSTR 2A. The approach of department I will discuss later on in this webinar, but practically we are reconciling 3B with the 2A on invoice level, because the reports generated by GSTN in case of 2A versus 3B are incorrect. Sometimes they are not giving clear picture or they are giving wrong pictures. So what we have to do is we have to reconcile input tax credit on invoice level by putting VLOOKUP, by making so many Excel tools which we can use. So practically, I'm giving you a glance of one audit report also. What audit report they are issuing after GST audit. Now after that we will discuss few other points also, critical points in GST audit. So they are saying that audit was conducted under 65(6), and they are not mentioning anything. They are simply saying that 38 lakh rupees has been recovered. They are saying that as you have deposited the government dues for paragraph number 1 to 12 enclosed, annexure enclosed, voluntarily through DRC 03, debit, etc., the same has been taken on record. This is the observation. They are saving their skin. They are not mentioning that we have gone through the refund orders, we have gone through the input tax credit, this aspect is correct, this aspect is incorrect. They are simply saving their skins and saying that since you have made the payment and it has been taken on record, that's it. That's the end of process. So that tomorrow, if again anti-evasion comes to me, haunt me, what I will show to them, what I will say to them, that GST audit was conducted. If the audit report is very comprehensive, if it mentions the point that the audit team has gone through the refund applications, The audit team has gone to the exemption notifications. The audit team has gone to the ITC registers. The audit team has gone to the records maintained under section 35. Nothing is mentioned. So department is doing, saying the officer is very clever. They are simply saying that this amount is payable, you have paid, the audit is concluded. That's it. So my practical advice would be that we must insist the officers that please make the audit report comprehensive. We have, in this particular case, we have given submissions of 2,500 pages. 2,500 pages were submitted, and this is the result of that. We have given 5 to 6 submissions. Number wise, page number wise, everything was given. But this is the crux of the submission. Nothing is mentioned. So we must insist that the report has to be comprehensive so that tomorrow the other department of the same wing, like anti-vision, comes to me, I can present that report. In few of the case, the courts have commented, since the GST audit under section 65 is one of the deepest investigation has been conducted, there is no scope left. Why anti-evasion is coming again and again to the same assessee? When you have conducted the deepest investigation of your statute, why anti-evasion or the DGGI or they coming to us and haunting us? So that will work for us. If the audit report is comprehensive, the courts will appreciate that. They will take care of it and they will definitely quash the other anti-evasion or DGGI proceedings which were initiated with a malafide intention. So now we are moving to the few like points which are very, very critical. I will explain in detail. The first important point is the payment to suppliers within 180 days. In one of our case, the client has not made these payments. There is a huge demand on account of interest under Rule 37. We have to check the records of our clients on a proactive basis. If payment is not made, the interest has to be discharged. The interest has to be discharged. The input tax credit has to be reversed and it has to be reclaimed once the payment is made. This is the provision, but there's a practical, the industry is, not ignoring this provision actually. Practically, they are saying that we are not required to reverse the credit. What we will do is we will compensate the department by paying interest under Rule 37 of the CGST rules. Officers also, they are appreciating this point. Practically, they are also not raising demand on account of ITC. They are saying that please pay my interest. Since you have taken something which was not eligible to you, and you have to pay the interest and you have to compensate the government. So we have to check it. If there is a major payment pendency in the case of our clients, we must inform our client that please make your payment within 180 days. Department is aggressively considering this point and they are raising huge demand on account of interest. So the one important point in the Rule 37 along with Rule 16, along with Section 16 subsection 4 is that once ITC is reversed, it can be reclaimed up to any point of time. There is no time limit attracted in case of payment within 180 days. Otherwise, you all know there's a time limit to avail input tax credit. It has to be claimed by 30th of November of the next financial year. For financial year 21-22, it has to be claimed up to 30th of November 2022. But in case it is reversed as per Rule 37, it can be reclaimed up to any point of time. There is no bar, there is no time limit to it. Again, I'm coming to the next important point is the blocked credit under Section 17 subsection 5, which is again very, very critical, and department in every case looking at this point. Motor vehicles, Section 17 subsection 5, you have to critically examine the records of your clients. Sometimes we get call, you also getting calls from your clients. I'm taking this car, that car. there is a huge GST on the invoice. Sometimes one of our client purchased a car of worth 50 lakh rupees. There was input like GST of rupees, say 10 lakh rupees on that. They were just wondering whether ITC is available or not. Very critical. Input tax credit is restricted in case of motor vehicles, except few cases. The food, the beverages, outdoor catering, beauty treatment, health services, ITC is not available. Special focus on the food items, the outdoor catering, beauty treatment, etc. Mediclaim, input tax credit not available. Life insurance, health insurance, input tax credit not at all available. Works contract, you can say rather in a simplified manner, the civil contracts, except plant and machinery. If your client is constructing a factory building, if your client is constructing a office, input tax credit is restricted, it is not available. If the goods are destroyed, lost, input tax credit again not available. So we have to be very critical. We have to examine the records of our clients, the violations of 17.5 critically, because department is aggressively considering this aspect of 17.5 violations. The third and the very critical point, which actually dents a lot to the clients. In one of our case, the client was like forced to pay 20 lakh rupees, that through bank account. The agony of this point is that this amount has to be paid through cash. Cash means bank account. The reverse charge liabilities cannot be discharged through input tax credit. It has to be paid through bank account, and input tax credit has to be taken within the time limits. So there is a list, there is a particular notification to that. There are number of services wherein reverse charge is attracted. So we have to critically examine the records like taxi, remuneration to director, very critical. Sometimes we ignore this point. If remuneration is paid to a director other than executive director, other than managing director, check your MCA records. Whether if director is not executive, change its status to executive director from non-executive director. It will play a critical role in the litigation. Don't deduct TDS under section 194J. Deduct TDS under section 192 salaries. If TDS is deducted under 194J, you are gone. RCM is attracted because 194J stands for professional charges. Taxi, 19th of October 2019, RCM is attracted. Ensure, scrutinize profit and loss account, check taxi charges. Advocate, any service, RCM attracted, pay RCM, take credit in the same month. OIADR, online information access database retrieval services. If you are registered and taking services from a foreign like vendor, suppose a foreign news channel or a foreign like software company, you are buying some softwares. If you're registered under GST, you have to pay GST on RCM basis. Huge demand is coming on this. GTA, manufacturing entities normally taking GTA services. No excuse that consignment not issued, 750, nothing. Ensure RCM is discharged and ITC is taken. The list is very comprehensive. Go through that list. I will send you the notification. Discharge proper RCM payments, take input tax credit, avoid litigation. Otherwise, a big dent to the client. It cannot be paid through input tax credit. Very critical. Circular also issued 172/06. It has to be paid through cash only. One of very critical point we came across in one of the audit that they are having few of the dynamic reports, exceptional reports like place of supply, conflict. My client is registered in Delhi. He goes for a meeting or conference in Rajasthan, Jaipur, 5-star hotel. Bill is raised of say 20 lakh rupees. They are charging GST, CGST, GST of Rajasthan state. Client is very excited that he has gone to the 5-star hotel, has conducted seminars, webinars, or like conferences, meetings. Takes input tax credit. The reception department of hotel takes the GST number, put that in invoice also, but whether input tax credit is admissible, yes or no? No, input tax credit is not available because there is a place of supply conflict. I am registered in Delhi. The invoice belongs to Rajasthan. Place of supply is Rajasthan. I am not eligible for input tax credit. Practically, now the reports are very fine. They are itself saying that ITC is not admissible, but in the previous financial years, people have made this mistake. Get it reversed through ITC and avoid litigation. Check your invoices very carefully, critically. In one of the case, the client has taken a machine from a supplier in Mumbai. The client was registered in Haryana. Machine has also reached to us. Invoice has also come to us. We have made payment also, but the accountant, the executive who entered invoice in books of account ignored that in the invoice, the place of supply was mentioned as Delhi. The return R1 was filed by mentioning the POS as Delhi. I am not connected to Delhi in any manner whatsoever. My supplier is in Mumbai. I am in Haryana, but on invoice and R1, it is mentioned as Delhi. And what if invoice is also mentioning that POS is Haryana, but R1 is filed as POS as Delhi? The department is rigid on this. They are disallowing input tax credit and charging interest. So be careful, check your 2B or 2A critically and carefully. Department is haunting us on this point. Bogus purchase, fake ITC. The most critical point. Huge demand, huge recovery has been done in the past 2 years. The moment DJRM has been active, a lot of people have been arrested. 2 chartered accountants also arrested on this issue. The fake ITC and refund, the Gurugram incident. We have to be very critical. We have to be careful while taking such clients who are involved in this whole scam of fake ITC or the whole chain. Sometimes we also become responsible for this. You have to understand 132. Department is catching the consultants also. They are saying that you are filing their returns. They are giving you the invoices, you are filing the returns, and you are getting the monetary benefits. Though we are not, but we have to be critical while picking up the clients like this who are involved into the fake purchase of fake ITC scam. The DGGI is issuing number of notices. We have been going again and again to the DGGI. They have used reports, the exceptional reports, and they are having list of all such people who are involved into illicit purchase of fake ITC, bogus purchase. So be careful. Check the records of your clients. If any of the like the input tax credit is of such type, get it reversed and avoid litigation. Avoid tax penalty under 74(5). Refund is again a very critical matter. You all know section 54, time limits, everything has to be considered. Follow a recent circular issued by the CBIC. The time limit of 2 years has been again relaxed by the GST department, by the CBIC. If there are pending refund of say 1819 or 1920, they are still active because of one of the circular issued by the CBIC. There was a judgment of Honorable Supreme Court at the time of the first pandemic, the first wave of COVID-19, that was extended again and again. But practically in one of our case, department ignored the judgment of Honorable Supreme Court and they rejected our refund. But soon after that, the circular was issued and the 2 years period was relaxed by the department. Now we are into appeals before the Honorable Commissioner Appeals, and department and the commissioners are giving benefit of this circular post the judgment of Honorable Supreme Court. So we have to be critical. If the refund is claimed by the client, check the provisions. Check the provisions. Check the 0.1% purchase aspect also. If there is a purchase of 0.1%, the export cannot be made with payment. It has to be made on LUT. Check the LUT, check the FIRC, check the time limits. This has to be, verified on GST refund cases very carefully. The another point is 2A versus 3B, very critical. Very critical. Rule 36 sub rule 4 was introduced by 9th of October 2019. You all know. Section 16 subsection 2 was not having any provision which was talking about mismatch or matching or mismatch. It was not having any statutory provision that was talking about GSTR 2A and its matching with GSTR 3B. 16.2 has been amended by Finance Act 2022, and with effect from 1st of January 22, there are provisions in the Act that the entries has to be verified in GSTR 2B. Then only we will get the input tax credit. But what about the invoices before 1/1/2022? Rule 36(4) was introduced from 9th of October 2019, but the rules cannot be contrary to the Act. The Act, the prime supreme document, is not having any provisions. And by way of rules, you are making such provisions. So Honorable Supreme Court in case of Bharti Airtel categorically rejected the argument of department and allowed that there is no requirement in the Act for matching of 2A versus 3B. But practically, friends, department is not considering this aspect and they are critically examining this aspect. Table 8 of GST 9, which is giving the figures of mismatch between your 3B and 2A. So we have to be careful. Otherwise, litigation will definitely start if there is major mismatch in your case. 99C, if there is auditor's recommendations, get it discharged. Otherwise, department DGARM is sending reports to the field formations, specifically that in these particular GSTNs, the auditor has mentioned a demand in table number 16, the auditor's recommendations, that this much of amount has to be discharged by the client, but client is not taking seriously to us. They are not discharging that demand, but now anti-evasion is haunting us, and they are saying that this has to be discharged and this has to be paid because auditor has already certified this statement. Auditor has categorically mentioned that this amount is payable in your GST 9C and you have to pay this amount. Capital goods, again, a very important aspect. You all know input tax credit on capital goods is available, 100% available in the first lot. At the first instance, it is not available on installments. But the moment you sell capital goods before the expiry of a specified period, the input tax credit on proportionate period has to be reversed. Suppose input tax credit is taken on a machine, but machine is sold in a period of 2 years. But we have taken 100% credit on that machine at the time of purchase. So the balance input tax credit for 3 years has to be reversed, and we have to pay as per rule number 43. This is again a very critical aspect. This has to be checked and verified thoroughly. Coming to the next aspect, there is a debate going on. We are arguing something, department is arguing another thing. There are two important sections in the GST Act, 73(5) and 74. Friends, when GST audit is selected, and they tell us that this much amount is outstanding, this much amount you have to pay, otherwise we will issue a show cause notice. This is the process. The audit team has come to a conclusion that 20 lakh rupees is payable on account of, say, fake ITC or inadmissible ITC. They say that 20 lakh rupees is the amount which you have taken wrong credit, and 10 lakh rupees is the interest on this. There is a demand of 30 lakh rupees. Before show cause notice is issued, you have to pay this amount. But what they are saying is you have to pay 15% penalty on 20 lakh rupees under section 74 subsection 5 by alleging that this is a case of fraud, willful misstatement, etc., etc. We are saying, sir, this is not a case of fraud. This is not a case of suppression. This is a debatable aspect. You are saying the ITC is not admissible, but as per us, it was admissible. But you are saying that not admissible. Now we are reversing this and paying interest. But department is saying pay penalty also under 74(5). So this is a debate going on. Practically, they are charging penalty under 74(5). So we are waiting for a categorical circular from the CBIC on this aspect. Another important aspect is related to payment of demand through input tax credit. Friends, there is an important circular by the CBIC number 172. That circular is categorically and critically mentioning that input tax credit or all kinds of demands except interest and penalty and fee can be paid through input tax credit, or it can be paid by utilization of electronic credit ledger. Whether you are making a payment voluntary as per your observations, whether you are making that payment post observation of audit team under section 65, whether you are making payment post issuance of show cause notice and its conclusion by the adjudicating officer, whether you are making a payment once a raid is conducted by DGGI, every payment of tax can be made through input tax credit. There is no bar on that. Please refer to this circular. Please submit this circular to the officers if they are coming to your premises. If they are conducting an audit, they have to accept this and they will agree to it. DRC 03 can be issued by utilization of electronic credit ledger. Interest and penalty has to be paid in cash through bank account. So these were few of the critical points of GST audit. Now I will take 2 minutes to touch upon the search under GST: inspection, search and seizure. Three important terms: inspection, search and seizure. Section 67 is a complete code in the statute which is talking about, which is governing the provisions of inspection, search and seizure. The two aspects, inspection, search, are the proceedings and seizure is the result. They are sometimes taking my personal liberty. These activities or these processes, they are basically come to my personal life sometimes. So the Act is very critical on this aspect, and they are saying that search and inspection has to be ordered by any officer not below the rank of Joint Commissioner. So a very senior officer, very senior IRS officer, and the JC or the officer above JC will issue search or inspection authorization if they are satisfied and they have valid reasons to believe that this premises has to be inspected or searched. It cannot be the fantasy of the officer that he wants to search my premises, he wants to inspect my premises, and he is just saying the officer, go and search that premises. No, no friends. there has to be a proper file which will be put up by the field officers to the to their senior officers, like to the joint commissioners. And the moment joint commissioner personally satisfied that in this case the search is very, very necessary to safeguard the interest of revenue, if the search is not conducted, it will cause a huge loss to the government exchequer. The evasion is going on that particular premises. So on those cases, search and inspection can be conducted. Inspection is a little soft exercise. Search, you can say a raid, is a little harsh exercise. Inspection is a generic term. It is conducted just to ensure that they believe that there is something fishy going on. They want to inspect my premises, they can inspect it. But search is generally conducted with a defined objective. There is a clear-cut objective before search is conducted. Suppose, I will give you a very simple example. The departmental officers are believing that there is a particular restaurant in the heart of Delhi and that restaurant is doing a sale of 2 lakh rupees per day. And the field officers have gone to that restaurant, they have bought some sweets also. And the sweet vendor is not issuing any GST invoices. So now they come to the conclusion that here a huge evasion is going on. Now they will come to that premises and they believe that they will get the copies of those like slips they are issuing to the customers. Or they must be having some cash, illicit cash, which is particularly the proceeds of sale on which GST is not discharged. Or the officers are believing that there are few documents which otherwise cannot be found or which otherwise SSC cannot submit to us and which are very, very relevant. Suppose some agreements. Some builder is constructing a building but not taken GST registration. So there are some builder-buyer agreement which are found in the premises. Suppose department is alleging or department is believing that there are 100 builder-buyer agreements parked in a particular office or business premises, and those builder-buyer agreements are very, very critical to establish that GST is evaded. In that case, search is conducted. The moment search is conducted, you have to check the search warrants. The search warrant in INS 01, it has to be authorized by the Joint Commissioner. So there are the search in itself is a very, very big or lengthy topic. We can do, you can say we can do a full seminar on this, but I will just conclude this webinar with the thoughts that you have. This has added few insights to your, added value to your knowledge. So thank you so much for watching this. Be with us. Thank you so much. Vikas sir, over to you.
Vinod, I would request, we have gone through the aspect of what the department will do when they will be visiting and what is law around it. And I would like to request you, if you have already handled some practical search or seizure or the audit by the department, being a professional, what should be the actions or the points we should keep in mind, or how to deal with it and all, how to prepare the files and all?
No, the GST audit is basically, it is conducted, they send you ADT 01 first. So I have just explained in the initial part, go through the ADT 01 very carefully and critically. Okay, you have to submit all the documents. If you need a date, you need a extension, please seek for an extension. Don't let that notice be unattended. This is my request. Attend the hearing, submit all the documents, explain your point of view. If You disagree with the officer, there is no harm. You can ask them that please issue us a show cause notice. He will issue the show cause notice. The another officer, the jurisdictional officer, on the basis of limits, will adjudicate that show cause notice. And show cause notice is a process. It will be issued in 73 or 74, and it is a detailed mechanism. They will give you the time, the ample opportunity, reasonable opportunity of being heard. You can submit all the documents. You can say your point of view. You can submit judgments. You can submit opinions. You can submit the law, rules. Don't get in panic. They will definitely press the panic button that they will do this, that. This is our practical experience that
even we have a experience of they keep on calling without issuing any notice that you have to bring this and that these document.
No,
they call you on WhatsApp.
Don't respond to any oral communication, my dear friends. The CBIC has issued a circular to all the field formations that there has to be a proper notice, and that too having a DIN. And I have explained you the mischief of DIN also. Please verify it. Please verify DIN. Don't respond to the oral communications. Don't respond to the oral communication. This is very, very critical. We have faced this because ultimately the client has to face the brunt of this. The oral notices, they seek you some favors. There is no record to that. And there is no guarantee that if you are getting call from the anti-evasion department, there is no guarantee after 6 months, again, another officer of anti-evasion calls you up or give you a notice in writing, or the case is selected for GST audit. So never ever respond to the oral communications. Simply ignore this.
So what in case of inspection or search, they took away all the documents, all the files, and we have not like any new client we come across. So we come up with a notice.
The most important aspect is the inspection. Ultimately, we have to verify first of all the search warrant or the inspection document. We have to verify the authenticity of that. Or we have to cooperate. That is our advice, or you will also advise the same. We have to cooperate with the.
Take a situation, it's a new client for us, like the search is being conducted on his premises. The officials come, everybody's phone was seized, and they have issued
there are ample judgments of honorable courts, honorable high courts. The search is conducted per se premises. It is not per se persons. They are not authorized to take the mobile phones. They are not authorized to copy the data from mobile phone. They are not authorized to switch off my mobile phone. They can take my books of accounts. They can take my computers also. They can take the other invoices also. But search is issued per se premises. It is not even applicable to my family members. The search has to be definitely conducted within the business hours also. There is a judgment of Honorable, I think, Delhi High Court, wherein the court has categorically stated that you cannot stay for 8 days continuously at the client's premises. You cannot bring police officers with you. If the client is cooperating with you, giving access to all the documents, all the informations, you cannot bring police officers, or you cannot stay with the police officers. You cannot freak the people who are. Sometimes what they do is, if the people are coming out or coming inside, when the people are going out, they send police constable along with them. This is not allowed. The categorical ruling of the Honorable High Court. So we have to be aware about the practical provisions. We have to brief them. That, sir, this is not allowed. You are doing illegal, you can say. This is a complete illegal act at the part of department, and the court has made strictures on the officers. The court has passed strictures on the officers who were involved into this 8 days raid at the office of a prominent client. So you have to be aware of your rights. You have to be aware of your rights, that these are your rights. You have to follow that. The department cannot enforce the take away
conclude with the last question. I will conclude because we have to go for another meeting. So the last question is like how to get the data being collected by the department, either copy if the matter is not concluded.
You have to apply for the copy. You have to apply for the copy. Practically, you know how they give the copy, but ultimately they have to give you the copy. You have to definitely apply for the copy. Keep proper communication. Create a cause of action. If that is not done, they are not cooperating, right to the senior officers. If the superintendent is not cooperating, right to the JC who has issued search warrant. If the JC is not cooperating, write a letter to the commissioner. If the commissioner is not cooperating, then we have a very fine legal remedy of writ under Article 226 before the Honorable Jurisdictional High Court. The High Court will definitely grant us the access of data being collected.
From audience, anybody, any query, so they can put in chat box, or
they can ask through microphone also. You can switch on their mic also. You don't need to write.
एक साथ सबका माइक स्विच ऑन कैसे होगा? किसी की कोई क्वेरी है अभी तो अभी चैट बॉक्स में अपना तो रेज कर सकते हैं, मैं बोल दूंगा. पुनीत, कोई क्वेरी?
सबको लगता है सब बहुत समझ आ गया है.
अच्छा रहा.
हम ही पूछ ले क्वेरी इनसे.
हाँ 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 पूछते हैं. पुनीत भाई, लो माइक. पुनीत, आप अनम्यूट कर सकते हो.
चलो कोई नहीं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
ठीक है, थैंक यू विनोद.
Very conclude. Thank you so much.
We'll keep on doing all these kind of insightful webinars.
Jarur, Jarur. Thank you so much for having me here. Send me the recording. Bye bye.
Sure.